Greetings, you mortals. We are back here on Nukeshot Media, coming to you live from Monza in Italy for the Group C Legends event of Nukeshot Endurance Series 5.5. Joining me in the booth today, as always, a refreshing beverage. Good stuff. Vimto once again. Hashtag ad, hashtag not really. I am, of course, Nukeshot Zokeo, in case somehow you guys forgot. I had no idea how that would have happened. Mika might be joining us later today. It's his grandparents' 50th anniversary. So he's over there at the moment. Congratulations to them. Hello to Nilsson chat, nice having you along already. Here we are then, at Monza, the no chicane layout, with these Group C monster machines. All of them over 800 horsepower sent straight to the rear wheels from the 80s and 90s Le Mans period. Fantastic noise, fantastic challenge as well, setting these guys up with intermediate tyres to better simulate the kind of grip that these cars would have had back in the day. And also the kind of temperatures that you can get into the tyres. They do tend to heat up quite quickly on this dry surface. Here we see Crazy John, currently fastest in practice, with a 126.227. Not quite into qualifying yet. Have a look at the kind of speeds he manages to get up to on this straight as they approach Curva Grande. There you see bypassing the first chicane at Monza. The sparks being thrown up, fantastic to see in the evening. Impressive stuff by the Mad Greek. Group calling me insane for the intermediate call. Probably. More sparks being thrown up there by a car just up the road from TSR Tomsov. Currently second fastest in that Porsche at 962. Good seeing them back once again and looking quite strong. Here is James in one of the Mazda 787Bs for the Arrows Racing team. That slightly different black, blue and purple design Looking quite fancy. Sir Bottle Job here as well, making their return in the Nissan R92 CP. Should be an absolute monster on the streets, we expect. Car 163 once again. The Joe 2 guy is here as well. And the Sauber Mercedes C9 for Team Impact Racing. Good seeing the regulars back. So cheers, Joe. The Minolta Mazda 787B, driven by GTO. Get fantastic noises that the rotary engine makes. And it's a fantastic combination of different types of car as well in this Group C category. We've got V12s with the Jaguar, we've got flat engines in the form of the Porsche, we've got this rotary engine in the Mazda. It's a real mix of machinery. GTO seeming to go fastest through the first sector marker. Tomsoff right behind them, chasing. Who else do we have on circuit? We have Rotary and another Mazda. Well, a name like Rotary, you would expect nothing less. Really sounds like Formula One from 10 or so years ago. With screaming through the national park here at Monza. Houdini back again for the Martini Racing Team. Very appropriate branding on the side. Car 23 and that Porsche 962. And Sir Bottle Job are only in the pits at the moment. There they are. Who else do we have here? They're hopping around a bit, it would seem. I think he's just left the circuit, but I did see Amuda was here at one point. We'll see if we can pick them up at some stage. They seem to be out at the moment. Root is here. Another Nissan R92 CP, that bright purple machine. Been seeing plenty of purple liveries from Root as of late. Certainly looking stylish. That sort of chrome look. Going over to chat for now. Yes, hello to Emilius and Wake asking how I am. I am fine, Wake. How are you, Wake? That's the real question. Yes, Rotary does make the sound as well. If we have an interview, you'll probably hear that over there. But we'll see how that goes. Hello to Crazy John. Nice having you in chat as well. And once again, he's texting and driving, it would seem, but he does have the fastest lap at the moment. Okay, so where in the world is Toshos, also known as Mr. TKS17. I'm just going to check the entry list actually, because I'm not 100% sure if they signed up. They may have. Yes, indeed they did. So good to see them here. It's just because they haven't been in any of the other events. So good to see them here. And that silk cut liveried Jaguar XJR9. I'm just going to have to do a quick BOP check on them. Do they match the other Jaguars? Yep. Oh, a little bit slidey. That's to be expected on these intermediate tyres. With the amount of wear that the tyres have been getting, it was a bit of a late change, but the tyre wear has gone down to ×1 instead of ×3, so that we have more than 5 laps per stint. Once again, Wake is asking how I am. I'm fine, Wake. How are you? This is going to go on all day. who's that they're chasing at the moment? Ah, that is the other Jaguar of a Muda. Haven't seen them yet. Here they are, car 54. Typical for Golden Motorsports to have that 54 car. And that Castrol liveried Jaguar XJR9. Very nice. I believe that had success at the Daytona 24 hours, if I'm not mistaken. Someone in chat will probably get that right. Oh, they've gone a bit wide. A couple of cars. Also, got to be careful with that. Technically, first chicane there at De La Rogia, as a Muda has slid, as has Tomsoft. Yeah, De La Rogia, very easy to overstep the limits. That's another thing that I should bring up actually. The track limits are being monitored post-race manually by a steward. So the in-game track limit penalties are off, simply because that particular area was a little bit of a sticking point with some competitors. But they are still being monitored just post-race. Got the same plan in place for Le Mans, where we're going to be having the NES Classic towards the end of the season. In fact, that will be the first race of next year, in fact. Wake and check, Tomsoft is greater than Supersoft. Well, he's on Inters at the moment. He'll probably stay on them for the rest because that's mandated by the lobby settings. I can speak. Going on board for now with Toshos, as I'll simply refer to them as. Their username's slightly different nowadays. Might be a second account or something. My stream seems to have gone a little bit unlive. There we go, back to the live. Qualifying is scheduled to start shortly, I believe. I'm just going to quickly get that up on my second smartphone because I am rich. I'm not rich actually. If you'd like to send in your donations, be sure to send them in at 0800 fatpeasant_.com. Someone make that an actual website. Yep, qualifying is about to start. Wait, hold on a second. What's that? No, my second phone started playing the trailer on the GT Planet thread. That's what that was. My apologies for that if that picked up. I was wondering what was going on. Qualifying starting soon. Oh. Here we go then. "15 minutes of Monza qualifying. No chicane. Who are the first people to get out of the pits? It seems to be the Joe 2 guy. Shut up, Houdini. You suck. No, I'm joking. I shouldn't be biased like that, but you do suck. Many pickled eggs. It's all good banter at the end of the day. No, Voice Crack McGee makes a return. Is CJ still the best peasant? Debatable. Debatable. He's definitely up there. I'll say that much. Currently 11 viewers tuning in for this live broadcast at Monza. Not technically my bedroom, but... Oh! That's the bottle job in the wall, living up to their name very early on in this qualifying session. Seemed to run a little bit wide out of Lesmo 2 and oversteering to the wall on the inside. Very lucky to escape without any damage on that occasion. The Joe 2 guy, the only Mercedes Sauber C9 in the field. We're going to go on board with them as we start a lap of Monza, no chicane. Trying to line up the exit out of the Parabolica. Very tricky on these intermediate tyres, so easy to get on the power too early and run wide. And here you see Joe starting the lap, flat out, as they make their way towards where the first chicane normally would be, Rettifilo, and past it. Turn 1, Curva Grande, flat out again, as smooth of a steering input as you can, then braking for Della Roggia a lot earlier than normal, as you'd expect. Nice work by Joe, got to get on the power nice and smoothly, firmly grasp it, as Patrick Starr once said. Lesmo 1, looking for that late apex to launch you down towards the second Lesmo, and again looking for a bit of a later apex if possible. Joe seeming to go for a pretty standard apex on that occasion. It seems to work out quite well for him. The Lesmos are banked, so you can get away with that. And then braking here for the Ascari chicane. Very tricky, especially with the anti-cuts. There you see them, those black with the yellow stripes on them. Very easy to unsell the cars, especially these Group C machines. Braking for Parabolica for the last time. And that, once he gets in the power, will complete the first lap of qualifying. What's it going to be from the Joe 2 guy? 126.7. Group will be next across the line. What do they get? 128.5. So Bottle Job faster than that. Amuda faster than that. Rotary up to second. 128.384 for them. Amuda only 5 thousandths behind Rotary already. That's a 128.389 for them. Sparks being thrown up as these guys make their way through Curva Grande. Expect to see a lot of that. Tomsoft into the pits. They may have picked up damage. Indeed they did. Rear aero damage on that Porsche. We've still got plenty of time to get more laps in, as Toshos has managed to make their way up into second place. 127.279. They're in the slipstream of GTO. That may have helped them a bit, as CJ goes new fastest, 126.351 for the Mad Greek. As we saw the pace in practice, he seems to have translated that quite well at the moment. It's around 4 tenths up on the Joe 2 guy. James is currently in 4th. I believe he's the best placed of the Mazdas. He's currently got a Mazda up ahead of him of GTL, letting him go by, and another Mazda that's gone off the circuit. That is... oh wait, no, that wasn't a Mazda, that's a Muda going slowly, just letting some of these guys go by. Perhaps looking for a slipstream partner. Slipstream even more key. Joe making their way back out of pits. There will be a fair amount of pit stops, because even though the tyre wear is set to 1 times, and generally at Monza you won't use your tyres as much as a normal circuit given the amount of straights, they are still on intermediates. So at the moment it is CJ from Toshos, who's just improved again up into second place, so 126.551 for the Bulgarian driver. Good stuff by them. It's another real top contender that we're throwing into the mix here today for the Group C Legends event, NES Season 5.5. That is Group, stopped at the exit of Della Roggia on the inside. He must have overshot it, and he's just letting these guys go by. I believe he's clear after that group, although he seems to have just paused and has parked it. Not sure what's going on there. CJ improved his time on that last lap. 126.280 is the new top time by them. Plenty of activity going on in chat. Hello to Martin, Mr. Huizen, as I refer to him as. Even if that isn't how it's pronounced, I know. Sir Bottle Jug currently finds themselves in 5th place. GTO not too far behind, just over a tenth. They're in 6th. In the Minolta Mazda. As the Joe2 guy once again going into the pits, as is Toshos. As is GTO. They'll be trying to burn off as much fuel as possible, which for the Mazda might be difficult. The Mazda tends to be the best on fuel despite being a rotary power plant. It actually seems to be quite fuel efficient. Rotary braking for Della Roggia. Very close to the gravel on exit, but nicely done. Oh, a bit of Slide McGee action as they put the power down, increasing through the rev range. No turbocharger for the Mazda. So perhaps a little bit surprising they managed to get that out of shape. Amuda currently in 9th. 5 thousandths off of rotary still, but they do have a slipstream partner, which could be crucial. But they've gone off, and they take a braking marker with them. That's going to spill onto the racing line, I believe. Here's Houdini. They're currently in 11th. They've disappeared off our camera. They seem to have overshot that a little bit. No doubt they would have slowed down for that. The sliding. Oh! Good catch. Good one to keep that one out of the wall, Chief. Group currently in 10th. You've seen better performances from Group, but perhaps they haven't had that clean of a start to this. They did actually initially sign up with a Mazda, however they then realised that all 4 of the Mazda slots were taken, so he switched. Perhaps that getting used to a new car could be hurting his performance at the moment. Expecting to be in the group around 5th through 8th. Crazy John, back out on circuit, just keeping it within the lines. Toshos, trying to come around, start a new lap. And the covered wheels on the Jaguar, a unique feature to that particular car in Gran Turismo Sport, will definitely help the aerodynamic efficiency on these straights. Let's see the kind of speeds that this can get up to. Going through Curva Grande now. Seem to be a constant 214. Very close to the outside gravel trap as well. Yep, 214 and braking. Juicy stuff at the moment. Right on the limit. Tomsoff about to make their way to the line. Will this be an improvement for them? It looks good, but not quite. 3/10 off. And they have a slipstream buddy in the form of Rotary. Did Rotary improve that time around? No. The slipstream's so key. You can see, look, 224 as they go through Curva Grande. He had to lift. That's the kind of speed advantage that you get from the slipstream around here. As the Joe2 guy goes fastest, that's a 126.278. 2 thousandths of a second faster than Crazy John. Whew. I think it's fair to say that CJ's done a decent enough job with the balance of performance here today. At least in qualifying trim. Crazy John still on an out lap. He's about to go on to a new one. 10.5 minutes gone in the session just about. 4.5 minutes left to go. Toshos did improve last time out. No improvement in position though. But they're within a 10th of Crazy John. And within a 10th of pole time. But alas, they are not pole. They are Bulgarian. Oh dear. Country jokes, the pinnacle of humour apparently on this channel. 12 viewers, even after that pun. Fantastic having you guys along for all the juicy action going off in qualifying at the moment. Tomsoff exiting the pits on a fresh set of intermediate tyres, followed closely by slipstream partner Rotary. In fact, Rotary's been displaced. GTO has got a ahead of them, or someone's actually improved. It was Groot actually. Groot was the one that has improved up into 6th. I did say expect to see them in the group between 5th through 8th, and that's pretty much exactly where they are. Well done, me. Should have put a bet on Ladbrokes for that. We here at Nukeshot Media do not necessarily promote gambling, but whatever. You're free to do as you wish. I don't think there's any like gambling sites that are doing bets on this right now. Groot runs wide. That's one thing that we know for certain. We just saw it. He's going into the pits. The tyres aren't overly cooked. Nevertheless, cooked enough so that he goes into the pits. New set of Bridgestones for that R92 CP. So Bottle Job exiting the pits. They're currently 8th. Haven't improved their lap time for a while. We'll be looking to get that last little bit of pace towards the end of the session. James, interestingly enough, is in 5th at the moment, so a solid performance by them, top of that second group. 127.315 is their fastest. Into the pits, new set of inters. The fuel continuing to burn off of these cars. CJ's actually gone fastest again, that last lap. 125.866, very firmly cementing their place at the top of the timing sheets. 0.4 of a second, and they're just pulling off to the side of the circuit, letting Houdini go by. Perhaps looking to go on another run themselves. The tyres getting a little bit cold, sliding a bit to heat them up. Good stuff. Trust out of the pits. He'll just about be able to get onto another lap, I would think. He might be the last one to cross said line. Could be close. Amuda, currently 5th. 5th for Amuda. That's a fantastic lap by the American. Oh! Look at that, using the grass to turn the car in. I don't think intentionally, but nevertheless, it's certainly fantastic to watch. A 126.874 for that Jaguar. He's looking really strong as of late. The last couple races, he's really come on good. Well, it is just qualifying at this moment. Okay, so Toshos looking like they will be the last to get onto the final lap. Although I've just got to be sure. Where's everyone else in this group? 11th. Rotary currently 11th. Do they make it? I don't think so. No, that's it. I don't know who was in that Porsche. It may have been Tomsoft. Actually, no, it'd be Houdini, I think. He's just gone into pit. So none of these guys made it. It is indeed going to be Toshos, the last person on a lap. He's currently 5/10 off the pole time, within 1/10 of Joe 2 guy. Are they improving their time? Is going to be the crucial factor here. Still a couple of these guys on laps. As James improves, James goes back up into 5th. Well done to them. That might actually just be a Muda leaving the track, I'm not 100% sure, but we did see Toshos was up in that second sector. They could displace Joe. Find out after this commercial break. If you had an accident at work that wasn't your fault, well, sorry, it's gonna have to wait. It's gonna be close. Do they improve? Yep, but it isn't enough. Only 7 thousandths in the end of things. And it is Crazy John taking a commanding pole position here for the Group C Legends event here at Monza. Okay, everyone is on circuit. There are your final times. Okay. Grid order. I shall set this shortly. Sorry I haven't been looking at chat. There was quite an action-packed qualifying session actually. Wake asking how I am again. Yes. I am yes. Okay, CJ clearing replay space. Nevertheless, he is our pole sitter. Yeah, setups can be altered. There's no part for MA or any of that. that's a F in the chat for James. Okay, so I'll be setting the grid shortly. Just need to go into the capture gallery because I have the memory of a sieve. Hope you're all enjoying the stream so far. If you are, be sure to leave a like on it. Share it with your mother, your father, anyone that might be interested in a little bit of motorsports. Who knows? CJ, the only car to be on the 125's interesting stat. Consider subscribing as well if you want to stay in touch with all the info throughout the rest of season 5.5 and potentially into the future. Hashtag bring back season 6 or whatever. Whatever the masses want. Okay, so it's then James, then... Oh no, okay, so Amuda was ahead of James still. So Amuda's 5th, James 6th, so Bottle Job 7th. Okay. Amuda's not on circuit at the moment. These absolute melons. Very solid performance by Amuda today. Grid order, okay. Okay, so it's Bottle Job, then Houdini. Bottle Job, Houdini, GTO Group. Bottle Job, Houdini, GTO Group. Bottle Job, Houdini, GTO Group. Oh, GTO's just gone. Hopefully they'll be back. Let me get this straight. There was 11 people. Hold on, I'm gonna have to write this down people leaving and rejoining for messing this up for me. Okay, so it should be CJ, Joe, Toshost, Tomsoft, Amuda, James, Bottle Job, Houdini, GTO, Group, Rotary. That should be the grid. Okay. Oh, these peasants. Okay, there's 11 cars on track. Okay, CJ, Joe, Toshost, Tomsoft, Amuda, James, Bottle Job, Houdini. GTO was there, but they left and rejoined. Okay. Then it's Group, then Rotary. Grid is set. Hello to Tomsoft in chat. Hello to Houdini in chat. Continuing to have you guys in chat. Nice having you along. After all that kerfuffle and grid shuffle, we are preparing to get this race underway. It is going to be 42 laps here today at Monza No Chicane. Expecting 1 stop for the cars that managed to save the tyres, 2 stop for those that push. Be interesting to see how that develops. Is Jimmy Broadbent in this split? No, unfortunately not. He's a couple splits below that, but you know how it is. We're elitist sim racers here on Nukeshot Media. Mr. Autopolis, of course. Hello to Rotary in chat as well, Taylor. I shout at everyone. Ready? I do have a keyboard on hand, but I don't know. Alright, leave me alone. 10 viewers. Hope you're still enjoying the antics here in the studio. No doubt the antics will continue, but hopefully we'll have some racing to go along with it. Yes, no. Thank you, Houdini, as helpful as ever. What an absolute peasant. Okay, let me just check to see if anyone said they're going AFK. Okay, Tomsoft said that, but I think they're back. Yep, back. Okay. Blah de blah de blah. Do I care? Survey says. You heard it here first, folks. When that recurs again on stream, that's amusing. Okay, I think that's just about everyone ready. 42 laps of pain and suffering. And we're about to get underway. Hopefully no fatalities, but no promises. Okay, maybe we can promise that. We are on GT Sport after all. Here we go then. The Group C Legends event here at Monza for Nukeshot Endurance Series 5.5. CJ on pole, Joe 2 guys second, Toshos third, Tom Soft fourth, Amuda fifth, James sixth, Bottle Job 7th, 8th for Houdini, 9th for GTO, 10th for Group, and 11th for Rotary. We're about to get racing underway here at Monza. Green, 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 and the cars are off. And it seems that CJ has a very good launch at the moment, holding on to that first place, but they seem to be 3 wide for third place as Amuda sneaks up into third. Joe being squeezed to the outside as they approach Curva Grande. Can he go round the outside of CJ? CJ clips the curve, that's going to affect his speed. Does anyone run wide? There's still side by side, 2 by 2, as they make their way to the braking zone. CJ manages to get it stopped, and Toshos challenging for second, and he manages to get it from Joe. And now look, Amuda challenging Joe as well. Joe seems to have not got the best of rhythm at the start. Tried to move, he's actually ended up losing a position. He's down in third at the moment. Amuda, good start by them. Net +1. They're up to fourth. Tom Soft losing a little bit of time. Bottle Job in sixth. James in 7th, Houdini 8th, Group 9th, 10th for GTO, and Rotary still in 11th. 7/10 to the good is CJ. Toshos seeming to keep him honest at this stage, staying in the slipstream, and the slipstream is going to be a key factor all race long. Look at the scenes here for 4th place. Tom Soft trying to get back 4th place, and indeed he does as Amuda slips down to 5th. But the slipstream's going to come into effect. Tom Soft could be a bit of a sitting duck, as we're also watching Toshos close in on CJ. Not quite close enough, I think, through Curva Grande. With the sparks though. Here we go again. Tom Soft to the inside. Amuda still looking for it. Ooh! James and Bottle Job getting very close to comfort. In the brakes, oh! I think Amuda's gone wide. Yep, good thing they missed the bollards. Same for Sir Bottle Job. It'd be an absolute nightmare if those are brought onto the racing line. Amuda gives the position back. A little bit slidey from them as well. Gotta refocus, get into that rhythm, and the crucial thing, of course, staying in the slipstream train. The battle for the lead is definitely on now. Going towards the Ascari chicane. Toshos thought about it. Decides to back out of it for now, knowing he's got a far better chance on the straights once again. And all the squabbling is allowing Joe to catch back up. Lost a little bit of time, but he's back to third. James up to 4th meanwhile. Interesting to note. There they are in that Mazda 787B, top Mazda I do believe. Mazda's quite good on fuel, as we mentioned earlier. Car 55 looking good at this stage, but they will be slipstreamed by the likes of Tom Soft. Here you see the battle for the lead again. This is going to be absolute insanity all race long. We've got 42 laps of this. We're only on to lap 3. The sparks being thrown up again, right into the face of Toshos. How can he see past that? It's almost like something you'd see out of Speed Racer, one of these defensive devices. A spark cannon on the back of CJ's car, it would seem. He's managed to get a little bit of time as they go through the Lesmos, out of Lesmo 2. But again, you need to break the slipstream if you are going to break away at all. That's what Joe seems to have done to the pack behind. Joe is coming into this at the moment. He's in third. Meanwhile, Tom Soft does manage to get back ahead of James, but will that last? Because James will have the slipstream back on the German. Going on board, there we go. On James' car, let's see how much they gain. Not much at the moment, but I think we're going to have to switch onboards to this. This is on board the Joe 2 guy's car. closing in on the guys ahead, not quite in the slipstream. And Toshos is being pulled ahead by CJ. The gaps are big enough for CJ to defend it. There you see the sparks being thrown right against the camera. Jack Wilkinson has an absolute death wish, sellotaping himself to the front of this particular Jaguar. Had to check there. Nice helmet, by the way, the green and the yellow. Very plasma dynamic indeed from Toshos. The tyres will be starting to wear a little bit now. And also overheating, of course. The movement by having those gaps in the rubber tread block that the intermediates do, normally to deal with rain, of course. Now, has CJ taken too much out of his tyres? I think he might actually be letting Toshos go. Nearly. It seemed like it momentarily. He was certainly slowing down for some reason. He hasn't picked up damage or anything that I know of, but maybe that's a tactic. Doing a bit of an Igor Frogger, letting the car go past the slipstream and then re-overtake on the straight. Expect to see this unfold like a game of chess. Everyone's going to be thinking 3 or 4 straights ahead in order to plan this one out. Side by side as they go across the line. It's Nissan versus Jaguar Power. Turbocharged versus V12 Grunt. CJ just about fending off for now. Joe's still there in case something goes wrong, just hanging back for now. Doesn't want to use the tyres too much. The brake disc glowing red in the evening here at Monza. In the dusk. These cars look absolutely fantastic. A bit further back, Tomsoff in 4th. They managed to break away from James. That crucial slipstream gap extended. Remember, slipstream, a bit of a note, 7.5 tenths for it to really start being effective. With the cars as close on BOP as they seem to be, that's definitely going to make a lot of difference. One of the main contributing factors for the BOP this time around was the top speed of the cars, given the circuit. Again, great job by CJ with the BOP on that. As there's a change for the lead. Change for the lead. Toshos manages to find their way through, but they ran wide! They ran wide and nearly into the gravel trap on the exit of Parabolica. That allows CJ to go back past. That's going to put them under threat from the Joe 2 guy. Here we go on board. What happened here down at Parabolica? Very late lunge. Somehow he managed to get it stopped. Little bit of onion barges. That's a little bit rude of him. But he did understeer off, and the position lost again. There you see the Nissan just powering out the corner. Out of De La Rogia then. The lead 3 really starting to close together again. In fact, Joe is closer to Toshos than Toshos is to CJ, or at least was momentarily. The gaps seem to have changed a bit. That Mercedes looking quite strong. The only Mercedes in the field, I might add, again. But still looking very, very competitive. Top Mazda once again. James, who's got another Mazda close behind. No, that's not a Mazda again. It's just the sound of the Mazda is so loud that you mistake other cars for it. Because everything around here is wedge-shaped. Really is turning into Robot Wars, this. Look at the fire from the exhaust as they shift up. That's a Muda we're looking at the moment, if you can't read. Maybe we should release a Nukeshot Endurance Series audiobook for the visually impaired. Maybe that'll work out. Sales start at $34.99. Sir Bottle Job, currently 7th. They managed to break away from the group behind. GTO in 8th. 9th for Houdini. Rotary in 10th. And I think this is the first pit stop for group. They've actually picked up front aero damage somewhere. Crucially, no engine damage or anything of the like for them. But out the pits they go. They're going to be a long way off the rest of these guys. No slipstream partners. Expect to see them drop down the field. Toshos is up into the lead of the race again. Apologies that we missed that. But he is starting to break away, actually. He's the Jaguar driver. From Crazy John in the Nissan in second. The Mercedes looming in the back as well. Of the Joe 2 guy. And then the Porsche as well. There you see. Tom Soft. And then fifth, the Master of James. All 5 manufacturers within the top 5 positions. Again, well done to CJ with the BOP on this one. And then I believe it's the Jaguar of Amuda in 6th. So Bottle Job in 7th in another Nissan. So dark green machine with the Pacific Coast radio colours. The Minolta Mazda of GTO in 8th. Houdini in 9th. Closing in a little bit on GTO up ahead. That Porsche looking quite strong for acceleration. Rotary in 10th, 3 seconds off of Houdini, and Groot, who we just saw make a pit stop, is currently 20 seconds back from Rotary. Gaps seem a little bit stagnant at the moment. It just takes one slip up for someone to get into slipstream range here. And don't discount the likes of Tomsoft. It's the final car in this group of 4 that seems to have broke away from the rest of these guys. He's currently 2 seconds back from teammate Joe 2 guy. Any damage on the cars, asks Mills? I don't believe so. Be interesting to see when these guys choose to pit. You can see the timer starting to kick in. Hazards on for CJ. No, he's going to be typing again. CJ, stop typing! Stop it! Stop being a fruitcake! He's doing some kind of peasantry. Ah! So Amuda is up into 5th. Now, what's happened to James? James seems to have just lost that position somewhere. I don't think they made a pit stop or anything. Indeed not. The last lap was a 1:33.1, so James has evidently made a mistake somewhere that has put Amuda 2 seconds up the road, and now they've got to stop worrying about the car behind them. Sir Bottle Job closing in that Nissan, and we know that turbocharged beast is very strong for top speed. Also the way it gets up to there. Current fastest lap of the race held by our race leader, Toshos, with a 1:25.909. Now we did see faster, I believe, from CJ in qualifying, but not in the race at the moment that I know of. Let's quickly check in on that lap data of CJ's. His current best is a 1:26.552, and last lap it was 1:26.8 and 1:26.7 for CJ in return. 1:26.8 for the Joe 2 guy, 1:26.3 as Tomsoft gets it a little bit wrong through Della Rogia. They've lost a little bit of time from that one. But the juiciness continues. James is catching back up to Amuda. Is Amuda wearing the tyres out a bit more than James, I wonder? Not by much, but a little bit. Just that little bit extra. The fuel also not overly different between these cars, it would seem at the moment. Here we go on board then with ART James of the Arrows Racing Team outfit, car 95, through the Ascari chicane. See how difficult these cars are to control by the amount of sliding Amuda's doing on those wearing out intermediates. In the slipstream, closing in. Amuda goes to the inside. Very late on the brakes from James. Does he manage to get it stopped? The marbles are right there! He gets squeezed off. Little bit of contact. Amuda's spinning. Somehow he saves it. But they'll have the slipstream again on the run towards Curva Grande, as I just sorted out my graphics for a second. The juiciest of juice indeed, Mr. Huizen in chat. Amuda goes back past on the inside towards Curva Grande. Will James be able to come back at them though? In the braking zone for Della Roggia. They're certainly looking for it. No. Think better of it. I think, yep, Amuda's actually ran too deep through there. There's probably going to be one that the Swiss are going to investigate in regards to the post-race corner cutting. Everyone will be investigated, of course, but that's the reason you're not seeing the penalties above the cars for when they do stuff like that. And all that squabbling has allowed this guy, Sir Bottle Job, into the mix. 5/10 back from James. And just like last time out, we've got ourselves a 3-car squabble. It's the Roadster Rumble all over again. Hello to Swablu in chat. Nice having you along for the ride as well. Fast and frantic stuff, as you see up ahead, looking from Sir Bottle Job's camera. James looking for the outside line again on Amuda. Amuda not quite as shaky as they were last time around. I think the key for strategy is all these guys are going to hit around the same time. As soon as the leader of this group goes in, then the others will follow. So it's just a case of who will be the leader and who's willing to stay out the longest. You can audibly hear Sir Bottle Job lifting out the throttle, just holding back a bit. Interesting to know. Just waiting for something to go wrong. Oh, bit of oversteer. And they get a fantastic exit out of Della Roggia. Does Sir Bottle Job right on the back of James. There's some juiciness going off up ahead, is there? Not quite. It looked a bit closer as they closed in with the arrows on the screen. Rear wing cam. Here we are on James. Managing to get ahead of Sir Bottle Job, or stay ahead rather. Sir Bottle Job knows just to bide their time, stick in the slipstream. Perhaps save a little bit of fuel if that is going to be a limiting factor in this one. Wouldn't surprise me. Looking to the inside again. Where are they? They're still side by side. James close on the marbles, in fact, understeering a bit, and I think the marbles have cost James that position, at least for now. They slot back in, but you can't be directly behind, super glued to the back of the car. You need a bit of a gap in order to build up the momentum, in order to make an overtake. He's got that now. He's out of the slipstream. He's looking for it. Oh, James! James has gone off. That's a disconnect. That is 100% a disconnect for James. He's in the wall. 100%. You can see the hazard lights are on that car. That is absolute heartbreak for James, and indeed he has left the lobby in such a fantastic battle. I'm glad his car, as he did disconnect, didn't take out Sir Bottle Job. But oh dear, James. Can we have some F's in chat for James? I think that's well warranted. Thanks Swablu for contributing to that. Thanks everyone else if you are doing so as well. Battle of the TSR mobiles. Mercedes ahead of Porsche at this stage. Third and fourth. These guys will probably be interesting to see if they work together in order to catch the guys from ahead. They've done it before. We've seen them, I believe I can't remember the exact championship, it might have been the Arrows Racing Series, a little bit of bump drafting here at Monza. Not strictly prohibited in the Nukeshot Endurance Series, but you can still help each other out by slipstreaming each other. Nevertheless, Joe Goes wide through that chicane. Has to give up the position to Tomsoft. Tomsoft up into 3rd place. And the battle for the lead has closed up. Toshos has really lost time as the tyres have continued to wear out. More mistake prone as they do so, of course. CJ closing in. But again, Toshos manages to build a gap to break the slipstream. And he's still doing just enough. CJ must be feeling really irritated by this. So Joe, 2 seconds down. Joe, I think the tyres are shot on Joe's car. Yep, even compared to his teammate, Joe has to come into the pits surely. No, stays out, perhaps due to strategy. I think Joe has to do a 2-stop. He's been very aggressive on his tyres, and that's clearly not paid off for him. Now, although you can probably continue with a set of softs when they're on that level of tyre wear, the intermediates far more likely to slip under the slightest amount of wear. That's why we predicted those that push will probably have to go for a 2-stop. And again, having to cut the track. Stewards aren't going to like that one. GTO into the pits meanwhile. That's the Minolta Mazda. They've fueled up. They're ready to go. So it's looking like a potential 2-stop for GTO. They rejoin in 8th. Now where is everyone else in relation to them? Rotary in 7th. I don't believe has made a pit stop yet. Oh, just clarify that. Indeed, they haven't stopped. So Bottle Job is about the same gap as there was to Amuda before James disconnected. And now that James isn't there, that's actually helped Amuda out because now there's no one behind them in the slipstream range, although they make a mistake through the Ascari chicane. The tyres really worn. And you gotta think, with those rear wheel covers, will that take any more time for them to change the tyres on that Jaguar? Of course it doesn't, because it's GT Sport, but nevertheless, commentary. Is Joe still staying out? Yep. It would seem to be the case. Those tyres are really past their best. Porsche, as somewhat expected from the BOP formula, using a lot of fuel, but very good on the tyres, it would seem. And the battle for the lead stays at around a second as they go into Ascari for the 16th time of asking. Swablu saying there's always a plan B with Joe. He's not called the Winnie Professor for nothing, either here or on the Half the Race Gone channel. Big up those crew. Big up the Mandan, big up the London Massive, big up Jack Wilkinson on the cam. Big up Mika. Might be joining us later again, we'll have to see. If he doesn't, don't worry. I'm sure you'd have had enough of me anyway. More sparks being thrown up by CJ. CJ tends to run his cars quite low to the ground. Not quite good for curbs. Nevertheless, he manages to negotiate those quite nicely, as Houdini is the next to fall. Houdini is out of this one. What happened to them? You can't quite see. They seem to disconnect midway through the Della Roggia chicane by the arrow indicator. If anything, gap's starting to increase a little bit between Toshos and CJ. Tomsoft looking the best challenger for Simpact. Just keeping the tyres underneath him. Joe really struggling. I wonder if Joe is on a dual shock or on a wheel. I can't quite remember if he got a wheel and he uses it for league events now, or if he's just stuck with a dual shock. But I know that using a dual shock or any kind of gaming controller tends to be worse for tyre wear, as you tend to put in more input. Joe is just going to stretch this out to be a one-stop, although he's going to be in no man's land for doing so, and very likely to make a mistake with that kind of tyre wear. Perhaps he's done the data running, seeing the kind of pit stop delta, and think that it's still not going to be worth it. But he's not even halfway done. Not halfway there, or living on a prayer just yet. Well, he might be living on a prayer with those tyres, but we'll see. Amuda and Sir Bottle Job. Jaguar versus Nissan. Interesting dynamic. Again, that turbocharged engine in the Nissan V12 Jaguar. Purple first sectors. Tend to see that with the slipstream effect, as Rotary and GTO are very close together on track. Two Mazdas, equal machinery, equal balance of performance. What are the tyres doing for these guys? Now this is interesting. GTO on track for the 2-stop, but because he's on the fresh rubber, he's going to more than likely overtake Rotary. Oh, my bad. Deaf camera. But yeah, this is what I was talking about. There is an overlap between the 1-stop and the 2-stop, and GTO seems to be proving that. Remember, he's not really had any slipstream benefit. Neither's Rotary. But when you're not in a slipstream train, it would seem that the 2-stop might be the safer option to go with. Juiciness as they go through Della Roggia. The tyres very much coming to the end of their life for these guys. More so for Joe, of course. But they've all closed up again. All three of these guys. Tom Soft is looking a bit low on fuel. He's probably going to have to do a little bit of fuel saving, actually, if he's going to make it to the halfway point of 21 laps. It should be doable, especially with the position he's in with the slipstream. Car number 3 looking in good shape at the moment. Very low nose on that Porsche 962C. Even for a Group C car, it's extremely low. No real front air intake seems to be the reason for that. Guess it's cooling from the sides. As Toshost is the first to take the plunge. Toshost in the pits, not quite to the halfway mark. So he's got to make the next set of tyres last longer. Either that, or he's going to have to switch to a 2-stop. He's fueling up. Where do they come out? They come out in clear air, but will they be able to gain enough time? Oh! Bollards on circuit, so someone has gone straight through. I wonder if that was Houdini when they either left or disconnected. It might have been intentional if they did run into them. In which so, that would take a hit on their Sim Racing Federation license points if it was an intentional rage quit, as the terminology goes. Now, CJ and Tomsoft. CJ is no doubt going to be losing time to Toshost at this stage. He hasn't got any slipstream, and he's sliding about like a fish out of water. I suppose those intermediates would be better suited for water. But the thing is, will he go exactly to the halfway mark, or does he come in now to try and cover off Toshost? I think Toshost is up the road now, he won't get slipstream regardless. I think what he has to do is stay out. He chooses to come in. Tomsoft mirrors what CJ does, and that's the smart thing to do for them. There's also low on fuel, but he's got more fueling to do in that Porsche. As the Joe 2 guy takes the lead here at the Group C Legends event at Monza, no chicane. He is indeed going to that exact halfway mark. How very witty professor of him. Although he's gone personal best through that first sector. He hasn't done a pit stop. Look out! Look at that rear left, especially nearly half gone. Considering that's the intermediate compound, I have no idea how he's managing to keep that thing in a straight line, let alone on the circuit. So bottle job in the pits for the Pacific Coast Radio sponsored Nissan of Bottle Job Racing. He's going to rejoin just behind, I think that is a Mazda of Rotary. Yep, Rotary just up the road. Rotary hasn't done a pit stop yet. And GTO is already 5 seconds clear of them, 5.5 seconds faster than Rotary after they managed to do that stop. They're on the 2-stop, remember. At least scheduled to be, oh, definitely with that kind of low fuel. The thing is as well, with the 2-stop, you can afford to run low fuel, which means that you go faster that way as well. Joe 2 guy into the pits, exactly on the halfway mark, as we expected. And somehow, CJ managed to get out ahead of Toshos. Perhaps that was due to the Jaguar taking on more fuel. We did see that CJ managed to save a fair bit, but I did not expect him on the warm rubber and no slipstream to be able to keep Toshos back after they had an extra lap. But nevertheless, Toshos, here they are. I'm just going to check. 128.7. Yeah, it wasn't the best of outlaps for Toshos, it would seem. Maybe they made a mistake, but they would have had to. That was the case. Rotary, exactly on the halfway mark. There you see the fuel left in the Mazda. Very good on being fuel efficient. Tyre efficient, perhaps less so, due to that rapid power delivery. Just take a bit of a beating on the tyres. Out pits they go. CJ is our race leader at around the halfway mark of the race. He's followed closely by Toshos, Mr. TKS 17. 3.6 seconds back, 3.7 nearly is Tomsoft. The extra fuel he had to take on, seemingly costing him a chance of slipstream. The Joe 2 guy in 4th. Pretty much in no man's land at the moment, but we sort of expected that after how worn the tyres got for him. He'll probably drive a bit more conservatively from now on in order to make the tyres last effectively. Amuda's gone quite long on this set, stopping lap 22, going on to 23. He's got the fuel to do it. Now where does he rejoin? Here's GTO. GTO on the 2-stop. So expect GTO to go past. But where do they come out in relation to the likes of Sir Bottle Job? That's going to be an interesting one. I think Sir Bottle Job gets past them. Indeed. There is a Luna just there in the Jaguar. He's going to slot into 7th just ahead of Groot. Groot could just about get into slipstream range, given it's a flat-out section even through Curva Grande. And indeed, Groot does manage to get into the slipstream range of Amuda as they break for De La Rogia. Oh! Unbelievable scenes. The bollard goes flying. Amuda, I don't think it's there on their screen. Yep. Normally they would have took damage for that, but because of netcode and such, that barrier clearly not there on their own screen. But it's good that at least on our screen that bit of debris has been cleared, if you could call a massive concrete bollard a bit of debris. I'm going to just reset the stream a bit, just to see if that's done something with chat. Okay, everything seems fine. 7 viewers at the moment. Nice having you guys along as per usual. The juiciness continues here on Nukeshot Media for the Group C Legends event. I'm Nukeshot Zokeo, of course, your commentator. live at Monza. Once again joined with a glass of Ribena. As blue flag's being waved, that's another car going out the pits, is it? Well, I don't know. There's just random blue flags for a second. Group just outside of slipstream range. And that's crucial for Amuda. He needs to keep building that gap. Group on the 2-stop. That's why their tyres are that worn out, and it's going to be difficult for them to catch. They really need to get into that slipstream for that 2-stop to properly work. Seems they can't quite power out the corners like they used to. Crazy John still leading from Toshos. The gap 9/10 of a second. It seems that the Nissan has a slight edge over the Jaguar on the straights. Either that or Toshos is just fuel saving at this point. Or do they have damage? Nope. Maybe he's just managing his tyres as well. That bollard is breaking physics, leaning like that. Alright then. There you see just in the background, 3rd place Tomsoft. Doesn't have any slipstream partners, could potentially fall back to Joe, although he's got 8 seconds over him. It's going to be difficult. I don't really see, unless some massive horrificness happens, Tomsoft really falling down that far, but it is Joe. And if there's one thing in the Nukeshot Endurance series that I've learned, it's that Joe's pretty good, generally speaking. It's rare that we ever see him out of the top 2 positions, let alone outside the podium. But really being harsh on the tyres seems to have not quite gelled with the Inters some of these other guys up ahead have. Maybe it's the Mercedes. Maybe the Mercedes is quite harsh on its tyres. Because it is the only Mercedes in the field. That might be a reason why we've only seen one Mercedes entered. Although Joe would have done his research and that sort of thing. GTO is currently in 5th. It's looking quite solid, if I'm being honest. That Minolta Mazda machine of magnificence. When was it that they last pitted? I believe they're on the 2-stop, aren't they? Yes. Yes, I believe so. So GTO finds himself in 5th on the 2-stop. But they will drop back to those that are only doing 1. Sabotajob, perhaps especially. Sabotajob's quietly gone about his business here today. Oh, massive slide for Amuda on exit. Let's see if we can catch that one again, Chief. The tyres quite fresh, but still putting the power down. No mean feat. Look at that. Drifting between the bollards on our screen. Yeah, they're probably not there on his, but it just makes it more impressive for the cameras. Big up to Jack Wilkinson once again on the cam. Now, is Group closing in on Amuda? Probably not, given the fact that they're on a 2-stop and they need to go into the pits at some stage. So it seems that Groot and GTO are the 2 that are going for this 2-stop strategy. As soon as I mentioned that, Groot does indeed go into the pits. I think they've spotted the arrow about here. I'm not sure who that is at the moment. It might be Rotary. Indeed it is Rotary. And think that they could get a slipstream partner out of this if they get to the pit exit fine enough. We'll see how that develops. Indeed, I think they've timed it very nicely to get a slipstream partner. Look at that! What a call by Zokeo here in the commentary booth. Don't even need a pair of binoculars. Tomsov has the fastest lap of the race. I believe they've just set that, have they? Yep, 125.7, so that Porsche really got the pace, but do they have the fuel? Maybe they're pushing so they can catch the Toshos. They are Tomsov, what am I saying? And that way they can get in the slipstream and save fuel that way, but they need to burn fuel in order to save fuel. It's a bit of a dilemma in there. Nevertheless, fastest lap of the race, 125.742 for the German. Car number 3. Fourth place, 11 seconds back, the Joe 2 guy. Let's compare the tyre wear between the two teammates again. It seems a bit more even this time around. So perhaps Joe is driving a bit more within the limits, or perhaps he's just wearing them out more as they start to go off more. Do tend to slide more once you've got a little bit of wear, that just adds to the wear, and so on. I'm starting to sound like James May on one of his rants about many things. We've got a car stopped at Della Roggia. That is Sir Bottlejob, who has gone off. What has happened to Sir Bottlejob? Bit of an old joke, but living up to his name. He was purple up in that sector. Oh, kick of oversteer through the first part. Didn't even get to the second part of Della Roggia. He's picked up front aero damage, nothing more than that it would seem. And I believe, yep, no traffic, so he rejoined safe enough. Oh, that could be costly for Sir Bottlejob. They was looking so set, given their strategy, on quite a good position. But because of that, they find themselves down the order. Amuda in 6th, GTO in 5th. This is for their final stop. They're on the 2 stop, remember. It's going to fuel up, but it will be for less. Remember the Mazda as well, quite good on fuel, so we could see the Mazda do quite well. I think they could rejoin in 6th here. Indeed. GTO in 6th. Who's the car in 7th? 7th is Sir Bottlejob, who's elected to stay out. Interesting choice. Inters are tricky enough to drive on in the dry, let alone with front aero damage. You might end up falling into the clutches of Rotary. There's still a lot of time to go, a lot of laps, over 10 laps. So the order can yet still shuffle. The leaders, meanwhile, have been working their way through a little bit of traffic, it would seem, or at least they're coming up to some. Groot and Rotary, very close together on track. They'll be getting blue flags at some point. Is Groot within slipstream? Can he get it? Oh, so close. Yes, he's just about in it. And there you see the gap closing in as Rotary doesn't have any slipstream. These two are going to be brought together. It's just a case of if Groot can stay with the dirty air, but with that slipstream through the Ascari chicane. Remember, they do have fresher tyres. They are on the 2 stop, and that overlap seemed to come into effect once again on Rotary. Although Rotary's tyres again still quite fresh, just not as fresh. Perhaps a bit overheated compared to Groot's tyres. Oh, I thought he was going into the pits for a second. Rear wing cam on the Paradox Sim Sport Mazda 787B. Groot is closing in just a bit. Actually, no, the gap's extending a bit, it would seem. So the Mazda seems to have a little bit of extra top end, at least for now, unless Groot's doing a bit of fuel saving, of course. But if he's on a 2-stop, he wouldn't have any need for that unless he's doing the misclick. It's happened to the best of us. By that I mean it's happened to me before. No, I don't. Oh dear. Great banter. And there you also see that name tag in the background. That's CJ. If you can just about make that out. Might be difficult to see on a phone. So he's closing in on these guys as well. So just get the camera sorted out again. The blue flags have come into effect. The group is well within that slipstream. Will the traffic present much of a challenge for these other guys? We'll have to see. Groot again, even though it gets into slipstream, is he lifting off? I need to check the telemetry on that. Is Groot lifting off? I think he might have done that deliberately, knowing that his best chance to stay ahead and get a bit of a gap is going into the De La Roggia chicane and getting ahead there. I did mention you got to think 3 or 4 straights ahead, much like a game of chess. I don't think Groot's going to quite do it though, so it hasn't paid off for him if that's what he was trying to do. The blue flag's still in effect, that bollard's still defying physics. Blue flags, blue lights as well at the side of the circuit. Of course, it isn't multi-class, so blue flags very much do apply to all these guys. Almost shoving them round the corner. There's CJ, 3 seconds ahead of Toshos. Tomsoft has managed to get a bit closer to Toshos, not by much. Oh, but the rear tyres, especially that rear left again. We saw that with Joe earlier on, taking an absolute hammering. As Groot still in the slipstream, CJ up here as well. CJ's closer to Groot than Groot is to Rotary. I think CJ's going to try and overtake them on this upcoming straight. Here's a thought, maybe Groot's gearbox is maxing out. I'm gonna see if that's what it is. It looks like it might be, you know. It's maxing out around 215-ish. Be side by side with Rotary. The blue flag's still in effect. Many sparks through Curva Grande. Will CJ get through here cleanly? Ooh, he has to hold back for now. Rotary goes straight on at De La Roggia, gets reset. That's going to put him there, and he's span out. He gets out of the way. Actually, that could be very smart driving if it was intentional by him. Just getting out of the way by sticking to that inside. But Rotary loses out. Here it was again, just overshooting it. When you cut that much, the game resets you. And here it was again, just sticking to that side, allowing the other guys to go by. Oh, he's going to be kicking himself after that one. And Groot will have the benefit of the slipstream from CJ for however long it lasts. Just looking up and down the order at some of the other guys at the moment. Amuda's pretty much by himself in 5th. Very strong showing by them. GTO in 6th, remember they're on the 2 stop. Amuda, I believe, is on the 1, yep. So GTO's tyres will be a lot fresher for these final 9 or so laps. 9 and a bit laps. And that could very much allow them to catch Amuda as Amuda's tyres continue to wear off. The juiciness as they make their way through traffic though. Second place, Toshos. They might be losing a little bit of time again to Tomsoft, who's closing up again. Where's Joe in all of this? Joe is... ah, okay, he's just at De La Roggia. That bollard. Oh dear. If anything, yep, Tomsoft is in slipstream, so that's exactly what he wanted. Let's have a look at the fuel gauges though. Do they have enough to make it to the end? They've got better fuel mileage than the car of Toshost actually at the moment, that Jaguar. So they were fuel saving, and that's why that's actually quite surprising that they were able to save fuel while also still managing to catch Toshost. Toshost goes into the pits! What's happened there? What has happened there to Toshost? They haven't picked up damage. I don't know what's going on. Have they underfueled? Fresh inters. So they're going for a 2-stop, maybe thinking they can claw this back. I have no idea what this is. 16 seconds to the 17 seconds. I highly doubt they're going to be able to make that back. With, what, 7 laps to go? 8 laps technically for them. 7 2/3. And he's hopping over the chicanes on fresh rubber. I know it's not quite warm yet, but on fresh rubber the Stewards aren't going to like that post-race. That's actually putting them right close with Joe. We just saw them in the back of shot. But Joe on the worn rubber, you got to think it's going to be difficult for them to catch up to Toshost. Especially when we saw Toshost's pace earlier on. Amuda, meanwhile, top of this second group. Another really impressive drive by them so far. Let's hope they keep it up. Very good showing by them, if I'm not mistaken, at the Roadster Rumble. I believe it was a podium for them actually at the Roadster Rumble. Just get that chicane wrong there at Della Roggia, but there you see GTO in the Minolta Mazda. Closest challenger, fresher tyres. That bollard, that's not the one that's defying physics, oh great. That one still exists, but another bollard wiped off the circuit. No damage of course to GTO, it's not there on their screen. But GTO, as I did mention, is going to be catching Amuda. Amuda's tyres, that's their best. The Mazda lower on fuel, but should be able to make it. We know the Mazda is quite strong on fuel compared to the other Group C machines. Group, side by side with Sir Bottlejob. Battle for 7th and 8th here. I did not see this one happening. Both in Nissans, funnily enough, these two coming together. Going on board with Sir Bottlejob. They're well within the slipstream. This is actually the effect of Sir Bottlejob staying out with the damage. I reckon if they came into the pits that first time, they might have just been able to get out ahead of Group, or if not, have fresh tyres and be able to catch back up to them. But they're not out of it yet. They're in the slipstream. And behind, that's Tomsoff, who is currently in second after Toshost went into the pits, you may recall, for that second stop. Hello to AC in chat, our air conditioning unit, Armoured Core in other words. It'd be fantastic to see you back for GT7, lad. Trust me, if this is anything to go by, there's still plenty of action to be expected from a Nukeshot Endurance Series race. As always. This is why we love online motorsport. It's fantastic to watch. 7 seconds to the good is CJ at the moment. He's got 5 and a bit laps to go. Things are aligning for him. Car 25. Oh, he's run a bit wide. Oh! Oh! As soon as I say something, I am so sorry, CJ. That is Curse of the Commentator right there. Oh, wow. That was intense. Let's see that again. Can we get an onboard shot of that, maybe? I'm trying to filter through the cameras. There you see how shaky it was on exit. Really impressive stuff to hold on to that for CJ, the Mad Greek. The tyres are wearing off, as we expected. Sparks being thrown up again as they make their way through Curva Grande. No sparks for Tomsoft. So it is going to be down to setup, I think. CJ is, of course, an LMP specialist. Perhaps less so with Group C than he is with the more modern prototypes, but he's definitely nailed this. He seems to have got it so it rides the curbs nicely, but is also low enough that it sparks in the ground and also has juicy diffuser action to make the car go faster on the straights. Rotary in 9th at the moment, just behind 3rd place Toshos. So Rotary a lap down at this stage. Joe 8 seconds back and continuing to lose time. I did mention that this could not work for him, and it seems to be the case. I think it's more a case of just I don't mean this in an offensive way. I think it is just the driving style. Joe takes a lot of the tyres. It could just be the Mercedes, but we've seen Joe have, especially in that first stint, far worse tyre wear than their teammate. Different car, admittedly. And they're pretty much in the middle of nowhere off the podium with this. They're down to 9 seconds behind. Still 52 seconds ahead of Amuda, so pretty clear in that sense. And there you see in the back, GTO has got the got the gap rather down to 3.3 seconds, and that's going to keep going down because Amuda's tyres are going to keep wearing. Here is the current tyre wear situation. Amuda looking a bit worse for wear at the moment, as expected. And there you see GTO looking a fair bit more solid, though Amuda does have more fuel, as we pointed out earlier. It's going to be really close. And you know what? I think that call by the Nukeshot Endurance Series governing body of switching to 1 times over 2 times tyre wear has been a very solid call. Now, I know I'm a part of that governing body, and technically the head of the series, so whatever, but I think that this sort of crossover between 1 stop and 2 stop is exactly the kind of juice that we wanted. It's really been interesting. The battle with Slipstream, the battle with the tyres. Still not over just yet. Look at that, GTO, nearly 3/10 purple in that first sector, so the Mazda's really gunning for it. The gap between them and Amuda down to 2.5 seconds. Will there be enough laps for GTO to make a move? If he gets into Slipstream, and if he gets past, I think that's case closed. But Amuda still has the track position, and crucially is ahead. I think that was Group rather, going a little bit wide. Actually, no, that wasn't Group. Who was that going wide? Was that Group? Apology, it was the car that was ahead of Group. But it wasn't GTO. Oh, slide! And into the wall for Group. He's picked up damage. He's got to stay to one side. Tomsoft, good avoidance skills. And we just managed to catch that on camera. Look at that, 3rd and 7th going past as well. Group down to 8th. That slight slip up has really cost them. Here it is on board. Similar to what CJ had, I believe. Yep, just the oversteer on exit. Couldn't quite hold on to it the way CJ did. Into the wall. Into the barrier, if I may say so myself. Shout out to Scott. Oh, that's put him down to 9th. That's behind Rotary. There is Rotary. He'll be doing the classic Jeremy Clarkson. I'm not last, I'm second to last. It's a real gaggle of cars down at Rettifilo at the moment. 2 seconds between Tomsoft and Toshos. So Toshos' call for that extra pit stop might not have been as insane as I thought, because he is catching. And look, the fuel as well. for Tomsoft. We knew this was going to be an issue. He needed Toshos to stay out with him to help him save the fuel. And now look, it's cost him. The mind games of this. Will he have enough fuel to do one more lap? I just wish Mika was here for this. This is ridiculous levels of strategy. CJ, on to the final lap of asking. Look at the sparks being thrown up, pretty much in celebration. 12 seconds, 13 seconds to the good. Going purple in the first sector by nearly 0.4 of a second. It's looking good for him. And look at this. Toshos is in the slipstream. Does he make a move for it? Tomsoft defends the inside. I think... oh, there's contact between the two of them. And Toshos goes off. The positions stay as they are. Tomsoft gets a little bit of extra breathing room because of that. It's probably going to be looked at by the stewards. Did either of them pick up damage? Crucially, no. Whew. That one's 100% going to go to the stewards, I think. Difficult one to judge. I ain't saying anything here. But that could be the difference. Ascari, pretty much. If Toshos gets in the slipstream for Ascari, I think Tomsoft is dead and buried. He might be anyway, based on the fuel. But it is going to be Crazy John. Yellow flag's up ahead of him. I don't know what's happened. But Crazy John takes the win. Group's in the wall. Crazy John is the winner of the Group C Legends event for Nissan. Tomsoft makes their way around the final corner. Do they have enough fuel? There's the graphic. They're running on fumes practically as they come across the line. They do indeed take second place provisionally. Toshos comes home in third. That incident on the final lap at De La Rocha more than likely going to get investigated. Whew. Joe comes home in fourth. Amuda will get fifth in the end. Or will they? GTO, 1 second behind. Still got to watch out for that one. So Bottle Job, first to finish off the lap cars. They're in 7th. 8th place for Rotary in the end. 9th place for Group. We had 2 DNFs, remember, James and Houdini. Unfortunate to see. Will Amuda hold on? GTO hasn't quite managed to get that overlap of the tyres to work. In fact, they're looking very tight on fuel. We thought the Mercer would be better on fuel, generally speaking, but he must have been very tight when refueling the car. I don't think he's going to quite do it unless it's going to be a lunge of a century from the Minolta machine. No, not quite. It's going to be Castro ahead of Minolta. And Amuda takes 5th place. What a valiant effort again by the American. GTO will have to settle for 6th, but last on the lead lap. Whew. Congratulations though to Crazy John. What a fantastic performance by them today. Got the car set up perfect. You saw the sparks coming off the car. That is exactly what he needed in order to get that extra bit of speed on the straights, is keep the car as low as possible to maximize the speed. That was absolutely fantastic to watch. I think that was a brilliant race. I hope you guys did too. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like on that. That's up there with some of the best races I think we've seen in the Nukeshot Endurance series. Even the main seasons, I'd say. Tomsoft in chat, very gallant of you, saying he wishes to check the replays, not apportioning blame to any side, but he's saying sorry in advance if there was a hit, or if it was his fault at that. Very gallant indeed. You can be assured that the stewards will be looking into that one. Don't worry about that. Fantastic battle, of course, between you and Toshos towards the end of that, so well done on that second on the road. CJ wins by 15 seconds, and going off the first stint of the race, I would not have said that would be the kind of margin we would expect. CJ really dominant. I know he did the balance of performance formula. I wonder if anyone's going to be complaining about it being rigged or whatever. But look at this. The other Nissans. 7th and 9th. And 4 different cars in the top 4 positions. All 5 in the top 6. So I'd say the balance performance was done very nicely. Just wish that the Porsche was a little bit better on fuel. Although that factor really came into effect towards the end of the race. Really made it a gripping scene to watch. As Thompson, pretty much on fumes, came across the line. Absolutely perfect display by them in terms of the fuel calculations. It was Tom Soft in the end taking the fastest lap of the race as well, a 1:25.742 for the German driver in the Porsche 962C. So although a gas guzzler, it certainly makes use of that fuel quite nicely. Lap 27 that was set on. Whew. The gaps between Tom Soft and Toshost in the end, 9/10 of a second. Joe, a bit strange, seemed to... he did have the pace to stay with these guys, it was just the tyre wear that really killed off for him. I think practicing, especially for such a unique event like the Group C Legends, where we are using the intermediate compound instead of regular racing compounds, slick compounds rather I should say, the practice is so key to make a setup that not only keeps you on circuit and keeps you in a competitive pace, but also doesn't take out the tyres too much with mechanical grip. That was some unbelievable scenes, to quote X-Matty G. Unfortunately, Mika hasn't quite made it to the end of this, but hopefully he'll be with us next time out. So, be sure to subscribe on the channel if you're not already. Next time out, same time, same place. We are going to be there for the Super Hybrid Showdown. Be sure to check out the link to the GT Planet thread in the description of this YouTube stream. There's currently 3 spaces guaranteed left for the Super Hybrid Showdown. Some entries rather, haven't quite confirmed whether they're going to be using the Lexus or Toyota yet, so currently 1 Lexus slot left to be confirmed, and 3 Toyotas. It's going to be a really interesting time out there. What circuit is that? It is going to be at the Fuji Speedway on the GT layout. That's the shorter one that bypasses that Dunlop chicane. 40 laps. Be sure to stay tuned for that on the channel next week if all goes well. Mika should hopefully be joining us for that one as well. Hope you have enjoyed the stream. As always, be sure to leave a like and all the other routine stuff that YouTubers say. From all of us here at Nukeshot Media, we hope you enjoyed the show. And from all of us, once again, thanks for watching.